Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Pastor Rob here. I hope you're all doing good. Thanks for the prayers, by the way. I do need them. Been in a lot of pain lately. Actually, even not working right now because I can't really walk very well. So anyway, appreciate y'all, and yeah, keep me in prayer. Appreciate that. Of course, I'm always praying for you. I got my prayer list, so don't forget to pray for Rob's prayer list because I got a lot of people on there. And so shout out to Stacy and Laura and Debbie. Been the last few ones I prayed for, and Pat, my brother Pat. So love you guys. And yeah, so let's begin John chapter 11 this morning. This is the story of Lazarus. Just some insight. Of course, we know Jesus is going to raise Lazarus from the dead. And the shortest verse in the Bible is in here, John 11:35. Jesus wept. What did he weep over? He wept over Lazarus. So what's interesting to me as I read this chapter is that you see this friendship between Mary, Martha, and Lazarus with Jesus. And it says that he loved them. He loved them all. And this is like really the only recorded interaction with him other than where Mary anoints his feet. But just interesting. You would think there'd be more about this relationship. And I think the authors probably limited it to, he had many relationships, and in order to keep us focused on the true meaning of the Bible and Jesus' mission on earth was to just focus on what he did for the human race, like instead of his relationships. Then you would have like a soap opera, so... And the purpose of John is to show that Jesus is the Christ, Son of the living God, and that in him we might have faith, believe, and have eternal life. So that's the thesis statement of the book of John. I think it's John 21. So anyway, here we are, chapter 11, verse 1. It says, "Now a man named Lazarus was sick." So that we know that's what's going to happen. We're going to talk about Lazarus in this chapter. There's your topic sentence. He was from Bethany, and I love the specifics of the Bible, not just some random man named Lazarus, like in Luke 16 for the parable that was used there, the rich man and Lazarus. But now a man named Lazarus was sick. Where's he from? He's from Bethany. It's a village where Mary and her sister Martha also live. And this Mary, whose brother was Lazarus, now lay sick. She's the same person that poured perfume on the Lord and wiped his feet with her hair. So the sisters then sent word to Jesus, "Lord, the one you love is sick." That's interesting. They must have had a real close relationship. If you've had a friendship where you're real tight with somebody, it's a big deal. Look at my cousin Chalmer, my kids, my wife, the people that I really care about and love and all that. So the sister sent word to Jesus, "Lord, the one you love is sick." This is cool. Intercession. If you have a friend or somebody, this shows you can intercede on their behalf with the Lord. Don't hesitate. If you know somebody's down, if somebody's sick and you love them, you care about them, or you just want their well-being or even their salvation, you have the right, per the Bible, to go to Jesus Christ on their behalf. So don't forget that. So when he heard this, Jesus said, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it's for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." Now, this is really cool. This shows a few things. Just this verse alone, verse 4 of John chapter 11, shows Jesus is God in the flesh. He is man, but also God. And he has omniscience, omnipotence. And one thing that I would try to lift the veil on a little bit, I won't get into it, but it shows his eternity past. He knows the plan of God. He was on the mountain of God when they came up with the plan of salvation. Maybe, of course, the plan to create the world. And all. Jesus is privileged to all that. Why? He's God in the flesh. Remember, one in essence, distinct in existence. So when he heard this, Jesus said, sickness is not to end in death. This is God's sovereign timeline. There's a time for this. I need to show the world that I have power over death, not only my death or his death, but also Lazarus' death as well. No, it is for God's glory. Everything we do is for God's glory. Jesus Christ showing here that he was about doing God's glory so that God's Son may be glorified through it, to show the power of God. Remember the last chapter, they were saying, "Who are you? Are you the Messiah? Are you God?" And he's showing, "Yes, I am." So God's Son may be glorified through it. Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. Yet when he heard that Lazarus was sick, He stayed where he was 2 more days. Look at that. This is something I need to learn, and I think speaks volumes, is that Jesus never panicked. Never panicked. Hey, this guy's sick, and he knows it's not going to end in death. Well, it did. He was in the grave 4 days, and we know that later on. But Jesus knew that it wasn't permanent. Just like our death on this planet is not permanent. We are passing through. We will lay down this shell that we live in, this tent that we live in, according to John and them, and we will put on a heavenly body. Paul says we will see Jesus, and we will be like him. So Jesus waits 2 more days. Very patient. I'm in control. Don't panic. Hang in there. I really like that. So when you're going to see further on that Lazarus was in the grave 4 days, we can look at it this way. It probably took them. So Jesus is very specifically, there's 2 Bethanies. There's one near Jerusalem, and there's a Bethany beyond the Jordan where John was baptizing. So we have to remember that. They're probably about 30 miles away between the Bethanies. One near Jerusalem again, and one on the east side of the Jordan where John did his ministry. And that's where Jesus is currently. He left Jerusalem. He went up to preach and teach where John was. And they knew that's where he was. So they went to get him. Probably about a 30-mile trip. So we figure 1 day out, Jesus waits 2 days, and then he takes 1 day to get to where Lazarus was. So if you want to understand when to add that up, it says he was in the grave 4 days. Well, that's why. 1 day to get to Jesus. He waited 2 days. And then it took him a day to journey to the other Bethany. So just interesting. Remember, there was 2 Bethanies. So when you read, understand John did most of his ministry in Bethany east of the Jordan. And this is near Jerusalem, just a day's journey, not very far. So he waits 2 more days. The patience, the confidence, the same thing we should have in our faith, being patient, confident, believing. Hey, man, when you say God is in control, and I struggle with this, do you really believe it? Because when things happen, you're like, what in the world happened? Just had a good conversation with this with my friend Terry. We had a mutual friend named Gary who died very young, but he was a believer. And we ask ourselves, why? Because he was such a great person. He'd like to teach and preach the gospel. And sometimes you got to ask yourselves why. And we kind of, it shakes your faith a little bit. So Jesus was unshaken. 2 more days. He waits 2 more days. Then he said to his disciples, let's go back to Judea. Remember, from the temple to the Bethany east of the Jordan, and then back to where he was at the temple area. But Rabbi, they said, a short while ago the Jews tried to stone you, and yet you're going back there? What are you, crazy? They're trying to kill you there. What? Jesus is unshaken, not nervous. Remember in John 10, nobody's going to take my life from me. I willingly lay it down in my time, his sovereign timeline. This is another sovereign timeline story. Jesus knew it was coming. He knows what he's going to do. He's going to do it in God's timing, not in the sister's timing, not in Mary's timing, Martha's timing, or the disciples' timing. He's going when he knows he's supposed to go according to God's sovereign timeline. So they're panicking. They know, and this is their leader. So yeah, they're fearful for his safety, just like you would a president or anything else. Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours of daylight? A man who walks by day will not stumble. In other words, I'm the light. I see the light. I know what I'm doing. I have clear vision. Wow, can you imagine that, having perfectly clear vision of what you are to do on this planet? And don't we struggle with that sometimes? Like, God, show me. What do you want me to do? Make it plain. And he doesn't always do that. A man who walks by day will not stumble, for he sees by the world's light. It is when he walks by night that he stumbles, for he has no light. Again, the light was significant. Again, back to the Maccabean story. But certainly that Jesus said, I'm the light of the world. Guys, I see everything all the time at once in perfect vision. After he had said this, he went on to tell them, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep. He's dead. He already knows he's dead. But I'm going there to wake him up. That's cool. I love it. So he's not panicked. He knows Lazarus has already passed on. He's going to be in the grave 4 days when he gets there. And he's going to call him out from the grave. He's going to wake him up. Exupnos, I wrote here in a side note, exupnos. He's going to exhume him, basically. So verse 12, his disciples replied, Lord, if he sleeps, he will get better. Jesus had been speaking of his death, but the disciples thought he meant natural sleep. So then he told them plainly, Lazarus is dead, guys. He just tells them plainly. He already knows. Again, omnipotence, omniscience. Jesus knows. For your sake, I'm glad I was not there so that you may believe. This is it. This, for your sake, I want you to see me take a fully dead man in fully decomposition, and I'm going to raise him from the grave in my power from the Father for your benefit, to show to all of us even today that even though we may be in the grave and be decomposing, that Jesus in a shout could raise you up in a second and put you back in perfect health, perfect form, and perfect function, which is what he's going to do to Lazarus here shortly. So this is for your sake. I'm glad I was not there so that you may believe. This is for our belief. But let us go to Lazarus. Then Thomas said to the rest of the disciples, let us also go that we may die with him. Wow, that's a weird statement, isn't it? And that one I didn't look into. It's kind of, I don't even know. You know, some people say things they don't mean something. Sometimes they say things they don't understand. They're going to go die with Lazarus because they're thinking, basically, if you go back to Judea, well, you're going to be killed, Jesus, because the Jews want to kill you. Well, I guess, you know what? You always have that one person, well, let's just go die. That's what he's saying. So now other people are a little bit more rational. They don't just go to the extreme. But Thomas did. Well, we're not going to survive. So if we go back to Judea, we're going to die. Let's just go die with him, with Jesus, with Lazarus, and then just call it quits. So, well, anyway, that's John chapter 11, 1 through 16. And just looking at the omniscience and the omnipotence of Jesus Christ, how he doesn't panic, how he's in perfect control all the time. And if we can believe that, this life on this planet can be a lot easier for us, a lot less stressful if we really just believe. And it's not always easy, but certainly we can try. So I hope you have a great day and see you all tomorrow.